Get out of my chambers, old man. I have a motion to review. Judge Marcus Whitmore's voice echoed through the corridors of Dallas County Courthouse. The 74-year-old janitor, William Bill Carter, stood before him, quietly holding his mop, looking at the young judge. He had been working in this building for 40 years, but had never encountered such disrespect. Whitmore had turned back to the files on his desk. This old man was wasting his time. Dallas County Courthouse was one of Texas's most historic courthouse buildings. Built in 1892 with its neoclassical architectural style, it had become one of the city's symbols. This building wasn't just a place where cases were heard, it was also where the most important battles of the civil rights movement were fought. But now, in these historic corridors, a very different conflict was taking place. William Bill Carter, at 74, had completely white hair that had grayed, his face marked with deep lines. He wore a simple brown janitor uniform, holding a mop and cleaning cart. He had been working in this building for 40 years. Quiet, reliable, never received a complaint. But his eyes still had sharpness, exactly as a lawyer's should be. Judge Marcus Whitmore was 38 years old, a Harvard Law School graduate, a newly appointed young judge. His father was also a judge. His grandfather was also a judge. He was part of a legal dynasty. He had risen rapidly in his career, becoming one of the youngest federal judges, but this success had given him an excessive ego. This afternoon, Whitmore was conducting an important motion review in his chambers. A corporate lawsuit case, millions of dollars at stake. And just at that moment, Bill had entered for cleaning. "Did you knock?" Whitmore asked without looking up. "Yes, Your Honor," Bill answered calmly, "but you might not have heard." "I'll come back later." "No, you'll come back never." Whitmore got angry. "Look, I don't know how things worked in your day, but in modern courthouses we have schedules. You can't just barge into a judge's chambers." Bill stood quietly. "Sir, cleaning schedule says 3 p.m. for this office. It's 3:15 now. I don't care what the schedule says." Whitmore stood up. "When I'm working on important cases, I don't want to be disturbed by by maintenance staff." "I understand, Your Honor. I'll reschedule." Whitmore approached, intimidating. "You understand? Do you even know what I'm working on? This is a $50 million corporate liability case, the kind of legal work that requires real intellectual capacity." Bill said nothing, just bowed his head. "People like you," Whitmore continued, "you clean floors, empty trash cans. It's honest work, I suppose, but don't pretend you understand what we do here. The legal complexities, the constitutional issues, the precedent analysis, these require years of elite education." These words hurt Bill deeply, but there was no change in his face. Whitmore returned to his desk. "And another thing. You're too old for this job. You move slowly, probably can't see well, definitely can't hear well. The courthouse needs younger, more efficient staff." At this moment, Court Administrator Sandra Martinez, passing by in the corridor, heard the situation. She had known Bill for years and had great respect for him. "Judge Whitmore," Sandra entered the chambers, "is there a problem?" "Yes, there's a problem," Whitmore answered sharply. "This janitor is interrupting my work. I need him removed from my chambers immediately." Sandra was surprised. "Judge, Bill was just following his cleaning schedule. I don't care about the schedule." Whitmore shouted, "I'm a federal judge. My work takes precedence over floor mopping." "With respect, Judge," Sandra patiently explained. "Bill has worked here for 40 years. He's never had a complaint. He's one of our most respected employees." "Respected?" Whitmore laughed. "He's a janitor. How can a janitor be respected? He pushes a mop for a living." Sandra's face reddened. "Judge Whitmore, that's inappropriate." "What's inappropriate is this old man wasting my time." Whitmore gathered his papers. "I'm going to file a formal complaint with building management." This courthouse needs staff who understand hierarchy and respect. Bill quietly turned his cleaning cart, heading toward the door to leave. Wait, said young law clerk Emily Rodriguez, Whitmore's assistant. She was also in chambers and had been watching the situation. Judge Whitmore, I think you should know something about Mr. Carter. What could I possibly need to know about a janitor? Whitmore asked dismissively. Emily hesitated. She had taken a legal history course in law school. The name Bill Carter had seemed familiar to her. Sir, I think Mr. Carter might have a legal background. Legal background, Whitmore laughed. Emily, you're new here, so let me explain. Janitors don't have legal backgrounds. That's why they're janitors. Bill stopped, his back to the door. He was quiet for a long time, then he slowly turned around. Judge Whitmore, Bill's voice was calm but weighted. You're right. I am a janitor, been one for 20 years. Before that, I was other things. Whitmore mocked. What? Security guard. Delivery driver. Bill took out an old, worn leather wallet from his pocket. He pulled out a yellowed card from inside. It read State Bar of Texas, Attorney William J. Carter, bar number 1847. Whitmore took the card and examined it. This must be fake. Or expired. Sandra looked closely. Judge, that's a real State Bar card, and that bar number. That's from the 1960s, one of the earliest registrations. Emily took out her phone and quickly searched on Google. Her face turned pale. Judge ... Judge Whitmore ... William J. Carter. He was one of the lead attorneys in the Texas school desegregation cases. He worked with Thurgood Marshall's team. Whitmore couldn't believe it. That's impossible, Emily continued, showing her phone screen. 1965 Carter v. Dallas Independent School District. Landmark case that ended segregation in Texas schools. Lead attorney, William J. Carter, 1967, Carter v. Texas State Housing Authority. Ended discriminatory housing practices. Lead attorney, William J. Carter, 1968, Carter v. Dallas County Sheriff. Ended racial profiling in law enforcement. Lead attorney, William J. Carter. A heavy silence fell in the chambers. Sandra whispered, Bill ... You never told anyone. Bill shrugged. Past is past. I'm just a janitor now, but why? Emily asked. You were a legend. You changed history. Bill looked into the distance. After the civil rights victories, things changed. Corporate law took over. Big firms wanted me to handle corporate cases, make big money. But that wasn't why I became a lawyer, so what happened? Sandra asked curiously. I kept fighting for civil rights, for individual people who couldn't afford fancy lawyers, took cases that didn't pay. Eventually, money ran out, lost my practice, lost everything. But I never lost my principles. Whitmore was still in shock. You ... You worked with Thurgood Marshall. Not worked with, Bill corrected, learned from. Judge Marshall taught me that law isn't about personal glory. It's about justice. Bill pulled out something else from his pocket, an old, yellowed letter. He carefully opened it. Thurgood Marshall's letterhead was visible. Dear Bill, Bill read aloud. Your victory in Carter v. Dallas changed more than just Texas. You showed us that one dedicated attorney can transform an entire system. You are what every lawyer should aspire to be. With deep respect, Thurgood Marshall. Emily's eyes filled with tears. Sandra bowed her head, showing respect. Whitmore sat down quietly. Something was changing inside him. Mr. Carter, Whitmore whispered. I had no idea. Of course you didn't, Bill said calmly. That's the problem, Judge. You looked at me and saw only a janitor. You didn't see a person with a history, with achievements, with dignity. But why are you working as a janitor? Whitmore asked, after everything you accomplished. Bill smiled, because after fighting for 40 years, I wanted to serve in a different way. This courthouse, it's sacred ground to me. Every courtroom here, every corridor, they witnessed battles for justice. I wanted to keep serving this building, keep it clean and dignified, just like the law should be, Sandra added. Bill, you've been protecting this building's legacy all these years and teaching us, Emily said. Teaching us what real dedication looks like. Whitmore stood up. For the first time, he truly looked at Bill beyond the cleaning uniform to the person. Mr. Carter, Whitmore's voice cracked, I owe you an apology. What I said. How I treated you ... It was inexcusable. Bill nodded. Judge Whitmore, you're young. You have time to learn. Learn what? That the robe doesn't make the judge. Character makes the judge, and character is shown in how you treat the people you think can't do anything for you. These words deeply affected Whitmore. Mr. Carter, Whitmore asked hesitantly. Would you ... Would you tell me about your cases? About how you fought those battles? Bill thought for a long time. Then, Judge, I'll do better than tell you. Tomorrow, I'll bring my old case files. You can read them, study them. Maybe you'll learn something about real justice. The next day, Whitmore came early to the courthouse. He was waiting for Bill. Bill brought 2 large boxes filled with legal documents, court transcripts, personal notes. These are from Carter v. Dallas School District. Bill opened the first box. 1965, the case that changed Texas education. Whitmore examined the documents. Handwritten notes, typed briefs, court orders. All were Bill's handiwork, Mr. Carter, these briefs. Incredibly sophisticated legal arguments. Constitutional analysis, precedent citations. Policy considerations ... That's what real lawyering looks like, Bill explained. Not about big words or showing off. About building solid arguments that serve justice. For hours, Bill told Whitmore about those days. Not just legal strategy, but the human side too. In 1965, Bill remembered Dallas schools were completely segregated. Black children received education in terrible conditions in old buildings. White schools had modern facilities, qualified teachers. How did you build the KC first? Documented everything, photographs, testimonies, budget comparisons. Then found the right plaintiffs, brave families willing to fight despite threats. Bill's face darkened. Judge, in those days, being a civil rights lawyer was a dangerous job. Death threats, office bombings, personal attacks. But we kept fighting. Weren't you scared? Terrified, every single day, but fear can't stop justice. That's what Judge Marshall taught me. Whitmore continued reading the legal documents. Every page was the work of a brilliant legal mind. Mr. Carter, these constitutional arguments. I haven't seen such sophisticated analysis even at Harvard, Bill had laughed. I didn't go to Harvard, Judge. I went to Prairie View A&M University, a historically black college. Then Howard Law School, Thurgood Marshall's alma mater, Howard. Greatest legal education I could have received. Not because of fancy facilities or famous professors, because they taught us law with purpose, law as a tool for justice, not just profit. That day, Whitmore learned not just legal strategy, but life lessons too. Every story Bill told, every case, every victory and defeat was changing him. Throughout the week, Whitmore spent time with Bill every day. They read old case files, discussed legal strategies, took history lessons. Mr. Carter, Whitmore asked one day, "What was your biggest case?" Bill thought, 1968 Carter v. Dallas County Sheriff, police brutality and racial profiling case. What happened? The African American community was experiencing systematic police harassment. Arbitrary stops, excessive force, false arrests. A family came to me, their son, 16-year-old Marcus, beaten to death by police during a routine traffic stop. Whitmore's face fell. What did you do? Built a case, documented patterns, gathered witnesses, expert testimonies. But the real challenge was the jury. All white, all conservative. How did you win? By appealing to their humanity. showed them Marcus wasn't just a statistic, he was someone's son, someone's friend, someone with dreams. Made them see him as human, and the verdict, guilty, officer convicted. But more importantly, the case led to police reform throughout Texas, new training protocols, accountability measures, civilian oversight. Whitmore was impressed. "You literally changed the system, one case at a time," Bill smiled. That's how change happens, not with grand gestures, but with persistent, dedicated work. Months later, Whitmore had become a completely transformed judge. He no longer shouted in his chambers, he showed respect to staff. And he reviewed every case through the lens of justice, not just legal technicalities. One day, an important civil rights case came before him, housing discrimination. Whitmore called Bill to his chambers. "Mr. Carter, this case. I need your advice." Bill examined the files. "Judge, this is a familiar pattern. Similar to my 1967 case." Together, they worked on case strategy, Bill's years of experience, Whitmore's modern legal knowledge, a perfect combination. When trial day came, Whitmore made a brilliant ruling. He condemned housing discrimination, set strong precedent, provided justice to victims. After the ruling, there was a standing ovation in the courthouse. But Whitmore immediately gave credit to Bill. "This ruling," Whitmore announced, "is built on the shoulders of giants. Attorneys like William J. Carter, who fought these battles decades ago, showed us the way." Bill smiled quietly, mop in hand, in his janitor uniform. But that day everyone, lawyers, judges, clerks, looked at him differently. The Dallas Bar Association wanted to honor Bill with a Lifetime Achievement Award. Bill initially refused, but Sandra and Emily persuaded him. On award ceremony night, the courthouse main hall was packed. Judges, attorneys, law students, all had come to celebrate Bill. Judge Whitmore took the stage and made opening remarks. "Tonight, we honor a man who taught me the most important lesson of my career. Not in a classroom, not in a courtroom, but while holding a mop." The audience laughed, but respectfully. William J. Carter, Whitmore continued, spent 40 years fighting for justice as an attorney. Won landmark cases that changed Texas forever. Then spent 20 years serving justice in a different way, by maintaining the dignity of the building where justice is served. When Bill took the stage, he received a standing ovation. Instead of his janitor uniform, he was wearing a suit for the first time in years. "Thank you," Bill spoke into the microphone. "But this honor belongs to all who fought alongside me. To Thurgood Marshall, who showed us the way. To the brave families who risked everything for justice. To every person who believes law should serve all people, not just the privilege." That night, Whitmore received a final lesson from Bill. "Mr. Carter," Whitmore asked, "how did you never become bitter after losing everything, after seeing others get rich while you struggled?" Bill smiled. "Judge, bitterness is a choice. I chose gratitude instead. Grateful for every case I won, every life I changed, every small victory for justice. That's profound wisdom. No, Judge, that's survival. Bitterness destroys you. Gratitude sustains you." Months later, Whitmore made a major decision. He hung quotes from Bill's old case files on the walls of his chambers every day. When making decisions, he would look at those quotes, reminding himself, justice first, ego last. One day, a young law clerk asked him about them. "Judge Whitmore, these quotes. Who wrote them?" "A janitor," Whitmore proudly answered. "Greatest attorney I ever knew, and he taught me something no law school could. Real justice starts with respect for every human being." Bill continued his janitorial work. But now it was different. Judges consulted with him. Law students sought wisdom from him. The courthouse had become a sacred place for him and Judge Marcus Whitmore. That arrogant young judge, thanks to the lessons he learned from Bill, years later became one of Texas's most respected judges. In every ruling, he remembered Bill's words, "Law isn't about power. It's about justice years later when Bill retired. The courthouse closed for an entire day for Bill's retirement ceremony. An unprecedented honor. Whitmore spoke at the ceremony. William J. Carter taught me that true greatness isn't about titles or positions, it's about character. About how you treat people when you think no one's watching. About serving justice in whatever capacity you can. Bill made his final speech. I came to this courthouse 60 years ago as a young attorney fighting for civil rights. I leave it as an old janitor, still fighting for the same thing, dignity and respect for all people. My job changed, but my mission never did. Another standing ovation, tears flowing, even Whitmore crying openly. That day, on the courthouse steps, Bill and Whitmore took a photo together. Young judge and elderly janitor, but actually a mentor and student, teacher and disciple. Mr. Carter, Whitmore asked one final question. Any regrets? Bill looked up at the courthouse building, memories flooding. Only one regret. Judge, what's that? I regret not starting my janitorial work sooner. Because serving this building, maintaining the place where justice happens, it gave me more peace than any courtroom victory. That's beautiful. That's truth. And truth, Judge, is what law is supposed to be about. Dallas County Courthouse wasn't different after Bill retired. But Bill's spirit was still there in every corridor, in every courtroom, in every decision. And whenever a new judge was appointed, Judge Whitmore would tell them Bill's story. Remember, respect isn't about position. It's about recognizing humanity in everyone. From the most powerful judge to the most humble janitor, sometimes the greatest lessons come from the most unexpected teachers. William J. Carter was the perfect example, a civil rights legend quietly serving, transforming not just laws but hearts, one clean floor at a time.